20 years, 9 championships, a Red Bull empire gone in a day. Christian Horner, the architect of Red Bull's dynasty, has been sacked without explanation. And if you believe that's just business, you've been watching the wrong sport. This isn't about performance. This is about power. And behind the curtain, Verstappen, Marco, Joseph, they didn't just outmaneuver Horner. They buried him, but here's the twist. While Red Bull scrambles, Ferrari might have just received the opportunity of a lifetime. Stick around because the truth behind this coup will change the way you look at F1 forever. Smash that like button if you think F1 team politics is more thrilling than any Netflix drama, or if you just want to see Horner on a Ferrari pit wall. Christian Horner built the Red Bull legacy, 4 titles with Vettel, 4 more with Verstappen, and through it all, engine failures, driver clashes, internal scandals, he stood firm until now. So what changed? Simple, he lost the locker room. Adrian Newey, gone. Rob Marshall, gone. Wheatley, Corsoon, talent after talent, all out. The technical brain trust that once made Red Bull unstoppable had already left the building, and while Horner survived those exits, he couldn't survive the Verstappen axis. Let's be real, Max Verstappen is more than a driver. He's a political force. He doesn't like instability. He doesn't like delay, and according to whispers from inside the paddock, he didn't like Horner. This wasn't a sacking, it was a sacrifice, a peace offering to keep Max from bolting to Mercedes. You want to know how scared Red Bull is of losing Max? They burned down the house just to keep the king inside. Let's shift gears. Ferrari, a team with 2 elite drivers, a legendary name, and a leadership problem bigger than all of Maranello. Fred Vasseur, a placeholder. Jerome D'Ambrosio, a loyal deputy, not a revolutionary. Ferrari needs someone ruthless, someone with a vision, someone who knows how to win when everyone expects you to fail. They need Christian Horner. And here's what's wild. Sources say Ferrari already approached him. He said no. Why? Because he was loyal to Red Bull, but Red Bull wasn't loyal to him. Now everything changes. Imagine 2026, new engines, new regulations, Horner walking into Ferrari, taking Leclerc and Hamilton by the reins and turning the chaos into order. Let's not pretend this is far-fetched. Ferrari is desperate for strategic leadership. Horner is a strategy beast, and no one else available comes close to what he offers. This isn't a rebound, it's a reawakening. 20 years, 14 world championships, and just like that, Christian Horner is gone. No warning, no explanation, not even a public reason. But here's the twist. Helmut Marko just broke his silence. And what he didn't say might matter more than what he did, because this wasn't just a firing. This was the final move in a long, brutal internal war. And if you think Red Bull is stable after this, you haven't been paying attention. Like this video, if you're tired of the F1 media sugarcoating what's clearly a power struggle playing out in real time, let's unravel the real story, starting with the man who may have pulled the final trigger himself, Helmut Marko. On paper, they were the perfect storm. Horner, the front-facing strategist, media-savvy, ruthless in the paddock. Marko, the silent general, kingmaker of the Red Bull Driver Academy, Verstappen's shadow guardian. Together, they built an empire. Vettel's 4 titles, Verstappen's 4 more, a trophy case that defined the modern F1 era, but behind the scenes, it was a cold war. Horner backed the Thai ownership. Marko stood firm with the Austrians. Their power split the team in 2, politically, culturally, and operationally. And then came the breaking point, the allegations against Horner in early 2024, the internal investigation, the media storm, and Marko refusing to publicly defend him. It was subtle, calculated, but deadly. Fast forward to now, and Horner's out. No fanfare, no send-off, just removed. And what does Marko say? We were able to celebrate an incredible number of outstanding achievements. That's it. It's not mourning. It's not rage. It's a eulogy. The Red Bull Civil War is over. Marko survived, and Christian did. Let's not kid ourselves. This changes everything. Red Bull isn't just replacing a team principle. They're replacing a culture. For 20 years, Christian Horner was Red Bull. Every championship, every deal, every mind game with Toto Wolff, it all ran through him. Now, Laurent Mekies is stepping in, capable, sure, charismatic, maybe, but battle-tested, not like Horner, and this creates a vacuum of power one Max Verstappen might fill. Don't forget Max aligned with Marco, not Horner. He's publicly dodged questions about his future. He holds an escape clause tied to championship standing, and Mercedes is circling. So what does Red Bull do? They cut Horner loose. They hand Max the keys. They try to stop the bleeding, but the damage is done. Rob Marshall, Adrian Newey, Jonathan Wheatley, all gone. The brain trust has dissolved, and now the soul of the team is gone too. So the big question isn't why they sacked Horner, it's what happens now. Can Red Bull survive this purge? Can Mickey's lead a fractured team into the most radical rules overhaul in F1 history in 2026? Or is this the beginning of the end? No warning. No leaks, just 5 words that shook the Formula One world to its core. Effective immediately. Christian Horner fired. The man who built Red Bull from the ashes of Jaguar, the architect of 8 driver titles and 6 Constructors' Championships, the longest-serving team boss in F1 history, gone, not with a press conference, not with a handshake, but like he committed a crime. And Bernie Ecclestone, the godfather of Formula One, has one question. What the hell happened? Hit that like button right now, not just because this story is wild, but because the silence around it is louder than any engine on the grid. We're about to rip open the curtain F1 wants to keep closed. Let's start with the voice that doesn't speak unless it matters, Bernie Ecclestone. He spoke to Christian Horner the day before the firing. They discussed Max Verstappen, business as usual, no sign of tension, no hint of trouble, no goodbye. And then, hours later, Horner was removed with immediate effect. Bernie said it himself. It's like he murdered somebody. That's the kind of reaction we're talking about here. Let that sink in. This isn't how Formula One dismisses legends. Even bad team bosses get the "we've decided to part ways" treatment, but Christian, he got the corporate death sentence, effective immediately. So what's being hidden here? Ecclestone doesn't know. Brundle doesn't know. Horner himself claims he wasn't even told why. And that's where this story flips from racing drama to something far deeper. Because let's be real, Horner survived a major investigation in 2024. He survived losing Newey, Marshall, Wheatley, and more. He survived Max Verstappen's quiet rebellion. So what didn't he survive? And why are the suits at Red Bull keeping it locked away? Let's be blunt. When you fire a man of Horner's caliber this fast, this quiet, and this final, you're sending a message. But to who? To Max Verstappen? To Helmut Marko? To the shareholders? Or maybe to Ferrari? Think about it. Horner didn't just disappear. He dropped a farewell message drenched in diplomacy, thanking everyone, even his rivals, a tone too smooth, too controlled. That's not a man walking away bitter. That's a man planning his next move. And Ferrari, they're watching because what do they need more than anything right now? Strategic leadership, championship pedigree, someone who's been to the top and stayed there. Christian Horner is exactly what Ferrari pretends to be. But here's the darker twist. If Red Bull can erase a 2-decade legacy in one night, if Bernie Ecclestone, of all people, is left in the dark, if the press is scrambling and insiders are mute, then F1's biggest power plays aren't happening on track. They're happening in boardrooms, behind closed doors, and they're fueled by something we haven't seen yet. Maybe performance, maybe politics, maybe something worse. And the fact that no one's talking? That's the loudest alarm bell of all.